This program is brought to you by the following non-paid sponsors: the League of Extraordinary Beings, the Society of Poor Knights of the Multiverse, Battle School, the deployed from Detroit School of Leadership and Madness, the Society of the Pale Horse, the Curiodrome, and of course, viewers like you.
Oh, I never timed this well. Or maybe I do. Hi, good evening. How's everyone? Good. See how I did that? Was that Dora the Explorer? And then who's that Miss Rachel lady? Saw her recently. I like her. She's a Lady Blues Clues. Ish. I don't know. I'm old. All my references are fucked up. Okay, real quick, can you hear me? Lima Charlie, are we... Okay, cool. Well, if we're Lima Charlie, I apologize for the fucking coughs. It's a dick move on my pothead part. Okay, let me pull up my slides and see what's what. I'm usually much more prepared, but I've had a busy day today. Really, really good day today. Like, painfully good. Like, it was a really good day, man. I had a great time. And it was a lot of just, it started awful. I woke up throwing up. Because, you know, don't eat Russian food. That's a story we can get into later. But I was throwing up from that. 10 years ago, by the way. Anyway, so I get up yak. I'm not feeling good. A little shaky. Not feeling great. I give myself a little too long to wake up. But the kids always do too. They sleep in like college students. But they were up. And they were hollering down the stairs. "Aunt Jenny, ready to come play?" I was like, "No, I love you, but no." And then once I was, though, it was nonstop. It was a good time, though. It was really fun. So yeah, I didn't have my slide pulled up because the kids were over here smashing my buttons, and I spent so much more time ensuring these knobs were where I wanted them, rather than I just now was like, "Oh fuck yeah, the slides." So, that's where my head is. Up my butt. Okay. So, where was Wheeze? Oh, did that... I'm not sure why. Oh, I do know why. Because a bunch of nonsense happened. So my apologies here, gang. I gotta get in and fix the again, great opening on my part. I had to switch around my monitors. That's what's happening. And so when I did that, it did something to... Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. It changed all the names to everything. So here we are. We're back. Stony Maloney. We're kicking it. Alright, so we're not going to go all the way to the beginning again. I'm not going to do a run through like I have been. If you're here, thanks for joining. But we've got 5 episodes right now where we've covered a lot of the definitions and the different words we're going to be kind of using today. So I don't necessarily expect you to know all this stuff, but be familiar with it. That's why this is a familiarization course. And if you need to get more familiar, go check out those previous episodes. But we may move kind of quick after this. Real quick, one thing I will repeat though is the definition of leadership. Here, let me do the official business. Oh, there's my dog vomiting in the background. Speaking of official, is that how you do that? How do you watch a thing anymore? Am I that stoned? Viewing. Mode. What? Yeah. See? They called me a genius. So leadership defined, purpose, motivation, and direction. That's always going to be what we're expecting of you as a leader. That's what your people are expecting of you. That's what other leaders are expecting of you when they give you leadership opportunities. They may not always say this because they may not know. Sometimes it's not boiled down this simply for people. They'll get told that it's, like, oh, leadership is an art, man, or a science, or it's a this or that, or blah, 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 blah. They'll beat around the bush. Sorry, I had to pick some shit up. They'll beat around the bush, and they'll never really get to this point, that it's purpose, motivation, direction. It's what, why me, and how. Which is, when you put it that way, it's a lot easier. So we'll speed ahead through these here slides. Is it? Oh, it better not be auto-playing. You son of a bitch. We had the 11 principles of leadership. Those are good to know. Don't have to memorize them, but they're good concepts to keep in mind. Fun to have in a notebook. We began talking about what a leader should be, beliefs, values, and norms. What beliefs are, what values are. We discussed some core values. We talked about the core values of courage, candor, competence, and commitment. And then we ran through different people who were good examples of these traits. And we got into norms. Norms is basically once we have our beliefs figured out, we have our values figured out. Norms is us writing down or codifying in some sense how we'd like to keep those things established, going, taught, whatever. The norms are the how of the thing. And if you kind of look at beliefs, values, and norms, this isn't one-to-one, and this is just I'm stoned, but it does kind of teeter-totter, we could say, the purpose, motivation, and direction. Purpose maybe being, let's see, is purpose sufficient for belief? Would motivation be sufficient for value? Maybe not. Maybe not. Stoned. But norms is definitely how. Norms is not getting into big, deep questions in a lot of instances. Norms may have some big, deep questions sort of simplified and codified. There may be a norm that says something sort of simple like, we believe in God around here. Okay, what the hell does that mean? That's a very, very, very intense set of questions stemming from one question as to what do you mean? So the norm can be something that's sort of vague and intimidating, and it'll be informed by beliefs and values and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I don't know. Stoner thought. We talked about the importance of these things, how they're going to cause people to act certain ways. Because beliefs are really talking about what a person may not know. Because for you to believe a thing you don't know. Because why believe a thing you don't know? Or I guess like why? I don't know. You really can't believe a thing. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to skip that though. Because again, good strain. They guide the actions of groups, cause heroic action. Da, 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 da. Oh, the heroic action, cowardly decision business. Where I was getting with that is that your beliefs are often going to get you through situations where you don't know. And courage and cowardice and heroism often result from someone behaving in the face of not knowing, in the face of, heroism often gets kind of pointed as these no-win situations, but a lot of heroes win too. A lot of heroes are sports players and folks like that. So the heroic thing is the courageous bit, the willingness to go in and endure these kind of things. But again, that goes to the beliefs, values, and norms. So if someone's got good sets of beliefs and values and norms in them, good for whatever you're up to, I suppose. But there are arguments for what there may be, what some may consider objective good beliefs, values, and norms, or at least a couple. I should stop saying I heard myself say it like 9 times there. They can cause heroic action, cowardly decisions. What was my thought? I had a thought and I was going to close it, but I'll just skip because this isn't the point of tonight. Your troops will follow a leader they believe in and embodies the same beliefs, values, and norms. We did mention too that this doesn't mean you have to have the same belief system, the same value system, or even the same systems of norms. It's just, in a lot of instances, that you have those same things covered, and you have them covered in a way that they don't cause friction, or friction in such a way that it slows the mission down to a halt. This is why it's important to influence these things in your people. You want influences in your people because, one, you're going to get your most extreme actions out of people this way, and you're going to be able to predict and in some cases exploit. Exploit is not a pleasant word, and it's not. If you think of exploitative material, that sounds dark already. You think of someone being exploited, doesn't sound good. For someone to be exploited doesn't feel good. To exploit a resource is to take a thing and utilize it for all utility you can get out of it, functionally without regard for maintenance, like whether or not it'll survive the thing. Like, maybe. I think where the negative connotation comes is where it's used that way, where, but we kind of talk about that word freely in the service, but in the context of we need to exploit this function of that, where we exploit the vitamin C characteristics of strawberries because they can get more vitamin C into a person than a glass of orange juice, than a whatever. Then a vitamin C tablet is going to do very. As far as like our ability to get them down people's throats, there's still people who don't like doing pills, this, that, and the other thing. Putting strawberries out on the line will get more vitamin C through the troops than any other method. And we exploit a number of features in a strawberry to include its high capacity for vitamin C, but also the fact that it tastes real goddamn good. And it looks lovely. And this, that, and the other thing. But we would, and that's from a specifically very kitchen example, but we would talk about exploiting. And so what I mean when I say this, and what I'm going to mean in all future contexts of saying this. If I suggest that you should exploit something in a person, I definitely don't mean you drain them of all utility until they're a husk. No. Troop care, self care, those are always going to be critical, always going to be first. And so, what I'm saying here, and why I'm trying to be delicate and tiptoe around this language, is because this is very personal, important stuff for a lot of people. Their beliefs are very important to them, their values are very important to them. It's where importance comes from for some people. And the norms they grow up with, for some people, they are what causes them to survive, or perceive that they've survived, or not perceive that they survived, but like perceive it caused their survival. There's some folks who think like, if I hadn't done it this way, I would have died. I would have starved, I would have been beaten, I would have fill in the blank, whatever they think. I've had beliefs like that myself, and in hindsight found out like, oh, oops, negative. That was just a me thing. I didn't have to worry about that as much as the world. Like worrying about quicksand, and talking to the 5-year-old today. He's real freaked out about monsters. And I had to promise him, I'm like, dude, it's my birthday tomorrow. It was his birthday Friday, and it's my birthday tomorrow in like an hour. And when we were down here playing, the lights went out, real windy. Lights went out, it was crazy. And he's all scared. And I'm like, what are you scared of? And he's like, it could be monsters. I'm like, there's definitely not monsters. He's like, you don't know. I'm like, if there are, we'll take care of it. And it's like, I promise you too, I've never seen a monster. And he's like, like he's being prepared for it. If you watch the shows he watches, more so if you play the games he plays, a lot of Roblox kind of stuff, a lot of whatever he can get on his little tablet guy. And, monsters are the generic sort of bad guy in video games. Generic monsters and things with sharp teeth and popping out of corners. And so, yeah, he's, at his age, reasonably afraid of monsters. I forget what I was talking about. What the importance of influencing people and exploiting people and stoned. Princess, who you yelling at? Did I ever show you guys Princess? And I'm sure you'll see her at some point. If not today, some other episode. She's about that big. And she's all attitude. Just a haircut, and she's just a teeny tiny Tina Turner haircut. She's like a Beanie Baby stuffed with my grandmother's ashes. It's crazy. People growing up, the growing up thing was right. Oh, saving their lives. Oh yeah, the Norse singing the monsters. That was it. Yeah, he's running around doing the pew pew pews trying to fight monsters. Because so far that's been put to him enough times that there's sufficient evidence that at a minimum it's a concern. And I'm like, Spreckensy, hang on. I had this other thought recently. Thought experiment for all you Midwesterners, because I don't know if this is just us or who knows. This could just be anybody who's got access to like abandoned buildings. But I remember go out looking for ghosts and stuff. And I don't believe in ghosts now. And there was definitely a period where I definitely did. All the way through. Even to like well, maybe it could be a psychic echo or an imprint or some highfalutin horse shit. And then I had this sort of thought of like, I would have never guessed ghosts. Like, of all the guesses I would have had, I would have never been like, my dead grandmother's back. Like, that wouldn't. Nah, I don't. I've never, and I'm sure, I know people have had experiences where they're like, oh, I thought there was a lady in a gray dress. She floated through the wall and she kicked me in the dick. Okay. Sounds pretty intense. I'm not going to take your story away from you. However, even when I believed that kind of shit was happening and I was in these houses bumping into walls and then like, oh my goodness, Scooby doing it and all that. In hindsight, I'm like, oh, god damn it, yeah. Nah, yeah. Because what really kind of got me thinking that way, there was this one haunted house and they were like, we gotta go, it's crazy out here. And I started doing more intense historic research into what I was looking at. I was very enthusiastic about history, but I was always just wave topping things because I couldn't fucking read. So I'm like, yeah, as I was like perusing. But gradually I got more skilled and able to like navigate through material. And so, at a minimum, this one place, they told me the story about this place. And they're like, it was built in 18 boop something and da 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 da. And of course, axe murders happened and fires and everyone died and all this shit. And then you get there and it's clearly, I'm a bit of an architecture nerd. It's my one weird thing I don't talk about. I talk about a lot of my other interests way too much, and I don't get into architecture much, but I'm a dork. But anyway, I saw this building, like, no fucking way. This was built in the 70s. Like, this house here was built in the 1970s. And it was built in the 1820s, and they killed our whole family. Anyway, it says, built 1974, United States Park Service. And they're like, it's cabin. Okay, whatever. And it was this, that one in particular was another interesting sort of interaction where it was this moment of realizing like, oh, there are some people here who believe, and then there are definitely people here who don't, and are doing some kind of like weird cosplay with the assumption that, maybe with the assumption that others are. Like, I couldn't tell, because that then opens up that population to half of them being, or having the potential for being scammers. Because you would have the other half being cosplaying for good, and then they have cosplaying for evil. Possible options. I just thought about that. But that was an odd one too. Another beliefs, values, norms where everyone had lingo for it. EMPs and... I saw a thing on a video. I saw it. But then, yeah, no. I would have never, like, knowing what I know, knowing even what I knew then, had you not told me that's what it was, absent that, I wouldn't have guessed that. I wouldn't have been like, of course. That's my rant on ghosts, but I don't know, hopefully that does an okay job packaging a little bit about beliefs, values, and norms enough that I can move on. There's a dead horse with a black eye today. Okay, influence. This is the most important part. This is where we're really going to start getting into what it is to lead. As a leader, you have influence when you're out there leading. And this isn't, boop, Jenny Cam. This isn't just you leading as, hi, I'm Daniel and I'm the floor manager. Not necessarily. This could also be what we call lateral management in the service. There would definitely be times where I would target a junior troop who was good at what they did, but also kind of charismatic, had the ear of their fellow troops, and had a good head on their shoulders, was looking for the right things, was not going to not get their not like get blown out of proportion by, they would not misunderstand what was happening. But then I would make a point to them like, hey, the other folks listen to you, the other folks watch you, do this for me. We all need this. It gets done quicker if they see you doing it first. So get out there. And that is, if you have access to that method, it's a very effective method, but it requires relationship building and trust building. But it's era. Jesus, I am black. I have this thing where PTSD, I'm sure you've heard of it. Kurt Vonnegut described it as a chronosynclastic infundibulum, being unstuck in time. And he's not wrong, even in the slightest. That's what it is. I was checking to see if there's any viewers. There's not. I love it. It's just you and me, boo. Chronosynclastic infundibulum, PTSD, time travel. So sometimes I trigger myself. Trigger warning. That's the word everyone's throwing around. We're triggered. But the shorthand we have in my cruise, we're like, oh, I was time traveling. And that's all you gotta say. And our folks get it. So that happens to me frequently. If I talk about something that brings up an intense memory, it is possible to sort of unseat me. And so there'll be a few times an episode, depending on what we're talking about. I'll be like, what? What was that saying? And it is, you think it's frustrating to you, you probably only hear it once or twice. I hear it every time. So, it gets old. I'm like, God damn it, what was I doing? Oh, where's my keys? Do I have keys? A lot of that. It sucks. Okay, we're back. Influencing. The parallel, the lateral leadership thing. Yeah. Whatever. I'm not gonna beat that dead horse. Some examples of how you can influence these things: awards and decorations, simple good job, like recognizing behavior, pointing out. Treat your troops like puppies. Human beings are not far off from most other mammals, and if you have the patience for it, which I suggest you cultivate, reward good behavior and do your very best to ignore the bad behavior that you can ignore through whatever. Some shit you can't ignore. Some stuff you're like, that we stop that now. But if it's stuff that is just not your style, whatever, let it not be your style and let it go. This is how I decorated my desk in the Air Force, and nobody knew I was gay. Hilarious. Nobody gave me shit about it either, though. They're like, Staley's desk. They keep shit on it. What are you going to do? I still was banging out all the paperwork I had to get. Everything was done. I was above and beyond at all times. This was... If somebody came in and said some shit about that, I might, okay, yeah, put it away or whatever, and yes, sir. But nobody did. They gave me the slack because like, they're weird, but they work well. Okay. They let me be just weird enough to work well. And that freedom of being seen for my capabilities in addition to what came with my capabilities made me work real goddamn hard. And then another thing is planning, executing, assessing tough, realistic individual training and group training. Stuff that is going to push their boundaries, not break them. You're not there yet. You're not qualified and trained to break these people. My people are, and it's not fun for them. They don't like it. It's a thing they need breaks for, especially my old ones. It ain't fun. Everyone breaks in the process. So don't think you're capable of that shit. Tough is basically the maximum expected pressure a person might be under while trying to get their tasks done, whatever their work is, whatever you're training for. And then, 10% more. So you're going to do 110%. You're going to do... last week I talked about Bob Hassey, one of the best instructors in the state when it comes to medical response stuff. But he did a really cool crash scene response for us that had zombies in it because it was near Halloween, so that was fun. And as part of our crash scene procedures, we came onto a crash scene where some kind of spooky chemical got released and then zombies. And as search and rescue professionals, we're never going to encounter zombies, one would hope. But hey, aren't you glad your fucking search and rescue professionals know how? Have some idea? Have practiced? You guys watch enough zombie shit that, hey, we got answers for you now. But then also our people are able to laugh stuff off. They're able to bring it on. And that's a key to a lot of things in life. Is making really your only response to adversity, bring it on. That's power. Blacked out again. This is going to be a tough episode. You don't want to be so tough, quote unquote, that it becomes abusive, demeaning. You don't want to... a terrific example is Gunnery Sergeant Hartman from Full Metal Jacket. If you haven't seen that movie, go see it. It is absolutely superb. It is beautiful filmmaking. You could pause it in a lot of different places and they will be beautiful photographs. Like if you have a digital, well, every version digital now, but it's beautiful. It is fucked up, but it is beautiful. And spoilers, it came out in 82 or something like that. Gunnery Sergeant Hartman often gets emulated by young instructors and wannabes because they're one of the first, drill instructors they saw in film. But Arlie Ermey's character, Gunnery Sergeant Hartman, for his methods, gets killed by the special ed feller in the bathroom halfway through the movie. Yeah. It didn't work. Now, Arlie Ermey himself was an instructor at the island down there during... Was it during Vietnam? I believe it was. And the lines they came up with were... They freestyled them into a voice recorder. Him and a couple of his buddies who were also drill instructors. And that's actually how he got the job. Because the actor who was going to be doing the role, they had Ermy and his buddies get the bits that they're like, just go holler at this tape deck like it's a recruit. And that's where they came up with a bunch of the lines. And then the actor couldn't repeat them as good as they could. And so like, you just do it. And that's how he started his acting career. But that was an act. That was a bit. They were cracking up laughing during, they'd say some of that shit, but like all of that gets contextualized at some point. You end up having what we call mommy daddy time, where we take the hats off and we're like, listen, quit being assholes so I can quit calling you assholes. Thank you. See you in the morning. And then you... But there is some capacity to balance that. You're not just torching them all day. They'd be like cooking a steak on one side. Like, no one's eating that thing. You're like, it's done. Like, maybe. I get... No, sure. But no. I don't know what you did. Yeah, you don't want to be so tough that you hurt yourself, you hurt other people, that you cause them to have negative motivation sort of against the thing. If it's so distressful to them, their body's going to be like, I don't want... It's going to reject it, and they're going to get anxious every time they have to do it. So if your training is so fucking intense that it causes actual anxiety, good luck asking them to do it twice. However, you can do that if you're skilled and you're trained, and more importantly, if you're going to be there to help them through that process, and not just run them through and get them all worked up and fucking send them on their own, but get them back down to an even level and do the debrief on, like, how was that? Crazy, huh? There you go. It's all got to be done thoughtfully, at a minimum. If it's not done thoughtfully, well, it's careless. This only creates antagonistic atmospheres. Again, if you're too shitty, it's just everyone's like, fuck the boss. You don't want a situation where, oh, hey, Poppers, where it's us versus them, and hang on. I'm going to yell at the dogs for just a moment. Sweet precious puppies. Shush, shush, shush. Sweet babies. Okay. I told them about manners and not to talk when mommy's on the phone. Tough training is thorough, exhausting, and realistic for the team and the team leader. You've also got to be in it. This is the thing. You've got to provide... And you got to be careful on this. You don't want to burn yourself out in front of your people, because then you look like an asshole too. But be in the training with your people. If it's going to be a thing that you deploy as a team for, train as a team for it. And if you have to set up the training where, maybe there's parts about it you don't know, then get an outside party, get a buddy, get somebody else. But make sure that you are a part of the team all the way through. You're not just standing in the back like, yeah, this is the kind of shit we do. Be a leader. Sit up front. You need to respect your troops, and you need to earn their respect. This is big. You're going to get some level of respect because of whatever job you have, but these days, that's more and more in decline, just because so many examples of... I was telling the kids lately, like, everybody you have to impress is an asshole, so good luck. But once your troops respect you and have your approval, you can guide them to demonstrate unselfish concern and compassion for the unit and for the team. Because they care about you. You're a team. You're a little micro family. Careful with the word family. That's how cults fucking talk. But you can really get into developing family-like relationships with these people. Just like we talked about creepy last week, don't force it. Once also, and this is sort of Jedi mind trick shit. Once you do have their respect, you can use that rather than having to switch to some other kind of disciplinary form. Because you can sort of mama bear guilt trip them on, like, hey man, why? I expected so much more out of you, and then this just isn't what I expected, I guess. I'm kind of disappointed. And then watch them crumble. That's the ideal. Being able to have a conversation like that with somebody rather than, you motherfucker, and it's already unfun. It's not great. But if you can have a genuine relationship with your subordinates and your teams, then you can have those kind of genuine relationships and conversations. You're going to be reinforcing behaviors with your actions, whatever actions you enact, but also whatever behaviors you let slide. So if you behave a certain way and you're very prim and proper and what have you, but then you let other people in your orbit behave a certain way, that is almost the same as you behaving that way. They are your orbit. And so at a minimum, people start to expect that with you. So whether or not you may not be the creep, but maybe you don't squash the creep and you bring them around every time. And then so yeah. Before I flash back. They're gonna be concerned with excellence and follow your lead. People want to do well. Nobody wants to fuck up. And people who want to fuck up well. They have a goal in mind. They're trying to do it spectacularly. So not necessarily well, but professional fuck-ups want to do it in such a way that it causes a specific kind of show. They're goal-oriented people too. You'd be surprised. Positive feedback and praise. Yep. But also, don't be cheap about it. Don't say what you mean what you say. Have candor. Be a creature of candor, and that will get you so much further. But say thank you. Often. A lot. More than you think you should. Notice things in your own life. After most meals I eat, I'll say, that was yummy. Just as a like, boop. I did a nice thing. I had a yummy meal. And that's lovely. It actually does nice things for me. It actually keeps me in a positive mood. It makes me remember what I ate. Because sometimes I'm like, did I have lunch? But if I'm like, that was yummy. That was a good salsa or whatever. Then I'll remember. Which for somebody with memory problems, hey, that's a good tactic. Chipping is a series that blacked out again. The sincerity matter. Salsa matter. Oh, praise. Yes. Yeah. Now, yummy is an okay word. We can go back to the yummy thing. Because yummy is okay. Yummy is okay praise. Because it's not me after each meal. Like, I'm not going to eat. Let's see what carcinogenic. No sponsored bullshit. Whatever that is. I'm not going to say it's magnificent. Because it ain't. I'm like, ooh, it's delectable. Cheetos delectable? Come on, that's advertising bullshit. They're yummy. Yummy's fine. I can say things are yummy. And you can say thank you. Thank you's not a mind blower. Thank you's not you getting on your knees and, oh, thank the gods. No, thank you. Um, it can be a little much when you're like, that's the best I've ever seen. Especially when someone knows it's not. Uh, yeah, you don't want to be blowing sunshine up someone's ass, blowing smoke up someone's ass is another way we say it. Uh, blowing anything up anyone's ass, really, unless they sign up for it. But this is an expression of, specifically in praise, is an expression of your, like a combination of joy and gratitude. So a joyful gratitude, which some people may not jump to, assuming they need to give their subordinates joyful gratitude. But you do. They could all stay at home sick. They could all quit at the same time, called up, be like, you know who sucks? The boss. 4, 3, 2, 1, let's all quit. Shit like that can happen. It's not very frequent. It's not necessarily going to happen as a result of whatever the hell I was talking about, but authenticity, again, I think that's a point I've made a few times, and I hope I make it a few more. Authenticity will get you much further than any show you try to cobble together. Character we talked about. Oh, we did get past some of this. So I'll speed through this then, because we talked. I must be being a dead horse again. Dialectics and character. This was just talk about two opposing ideas narrowing at a truth, because oftentimes two people have different ideas about a subject, but they're both observing that same subject. There's the old parable, or whatever you want to call it, about all the different blind scholars touching an elephant and describing it, and someone's like, it's very long, and someone's like, it's very rough. Someone's like, it has a huge dick. You know, who's wrong? Who's right there? But it is clearly something larger than that. It's not just those things that one person can perceive. It's all of those things put together. And so a lot of times in arguments, there's going to be, two sides to every coin. You're going to hear that a lot. And so when you're having difficulty deciding, like, you can get to a lot of root truths. And we'll get to that when we cover motivations. Because motivation theory will really kind of chip at how these root truths will present themselves. But character traits will develop as solutions to problems. This is a big thing. An important thing to understand when you do see things that are causing negative behaviors. And I think this was why I mentioned the dialectic idea, because sometimes just for your own purpose, ask yourself, okay, why is this stupid idea a good idea? And then lay out the variables under which it would be a good idea, and then all of a sudden you figured out why they're mistaken, or what gaps need to be filled in. And so character traits develop as solutions to problems. And you'll see people who lie, cheat, steal will have character traits that you don't value. But they do. And they do because they got them by somewhere else. They were solutions to problems they had elsewhere. And so it's up to you now to either show them they don't have that problem anymore, or whatever the solution is. It's always going to be a little bit more complicated than bullet statement can give you. But all of these are going to come from somewhere, and typically from somewhere trying to do well. And if not to do well, then to survive. And that's what you're going to find almost universally. There's always going to be opportunities for difference, but this is a sort of near universal. Comparing character traits. Strong character, they recognize what they want: drive, energy, self-discipline, willpower, courage. They have these traits. They take responsibility. They're ready and raring. A person with weak character, or weakened character, we might say, may not know what they need, may not think about what they need. They may lack elements of a strong character. They may abandon elements of a strong character to get what they want. And they may pass the buck rather than taking responsibility. They may opt out and be like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to do that. I can let them do it. The importance of character. So in you, your troops are going to be assessing your character all day, every day. They'll detect your honesty. When you are... I misspelled... I think I misspelled... because I don't think decisiveness is what that should be. Deceivousness? Am I just not reading deceivousness correct? Am I that dyslexic, gang? It's very possible. Selfishness. Anyway, they'll figure out if you're full of shit, is what I'm saying. And very quickly, very, very quickly, and at a minimum too, you're outnumbered. You may be smarter than everyone in the room, but you're not smarter than a room full of people. And so they're gonna see. I'm sorry. They're gonna see. So it's very important for you to have an idea of who you are going into it. Because if you go in there telling them you're somebody else, you're gonna look like an asshole. And like we've said, that's not gonna set you up for success here. People want to be led by leaders who provide strength, inspiration, and guidance, and will help them become winners. Winners! This doesn't necessarily mean winning a game, winning this, that, the other thing. It means the goals they set out for, they achieve. The victories they want to get, they get. And they think you can get them there, or at least towards it, they'll follow you. Let them know that that's your plan, your goal, your hope, and they'll at least give you a shot. Okay, we talked about... I think we did talk about this last week, about the good life, the eudaimonia. So I won't go too far into it again. Plato described it as good life, or at least this was nearly his description of it. Like, if we're going to pull a description of a good life, you could say Plato described it with eudaimonia. But in his literalistic terms, it just means to have a good spirit inside of it. To be possessing a good spirit. And not necessarily like good spirit, bad spirit, but a guiding spirit, a holy spirit, a divine, bright... I guess it does lean more good, bad in that context, but sort of absent of that. Some strive for comfort, some strive for contentment. I'm here to tell you contentment is going to get you further. Often they get compared to one another. People think that if they have comfort, they'll be content because they're not content with things that make them uncomfortable. And regrettably, that's not how it's going to work. If you're uncomfortable now and you're not content, you will not be content when you become comfortable. Contentment and comfort are not linked. I think comfort almost numbs you into thinking that you are content. It distracts you. And that's not to shit on comfort. Comfort rules. It's comfortable as hell. But contentment is... I don't know. contentment will heal you more. And it will heal more people than comfort. And you can seek comfort, but never at the cost of contentment, I would say. Just thinking about times that happened too. So what do we want to be? What are we looking for in others? What are we looking for in ourselves? For some of us, that's a very easy and immediate answer. We say, A, B, C. Those are the things I want to see. For others, we're definitely not sure. Especially when it comes to what we want to see in ourselves. I think you... Oh, yeah? Baby boy? Oh, he's telling me. Oh. It's almost my birthday. It's almost time to wrap up. So I'll hurry up then, Odin, so we can take you potty on my birthday. What do we want to be? What are we looking for in others? Sometimes, so, segue to the point. A lot of times what I'll describe for folks is that a bully is looking to destroy something they see of themselves in someone else that they want destroyed. So they'll hate something, some aspect of themselves. And it may not be fully, like a full conscious awareness of like, that's me and I don't like it. But it is this like discomfort of not wanting to see that in the world. And then having like a real hyped up personal opinion about it because of its the sort of personal reflective nature. And to the point where this could give you some kind of pause in thinking. If you're not sure what you want to see in yourself, think about what you want to see in others. If you do have a ready answer for one of these and not the other, they do inform one another because these are what you want to see in people. A lot of times we'll run into very selfless individuals who want to help people and they don't take care of themselves. And we have to remind them that they are also people. And so it's okay to help yourself when you need it. Because you're a people too. And you like helping people. And we forget that sometimes. Because we're too busy or whatever our fun excuse is. But yeah, no, if you're out there to help people, hey, you're people too. But what do you want to see in others? That'll sometimes tell you what you want to see in yourself because you see that it's missing. You see that it's missing out there. Or maybe it's not missing and you see it reflected, you see it done well, and you want to see it repeated. Man, Odin really has to go potty. Okay, gang. I was high. Whoa, there's our Learmy again. Leading by example. See, this is where I was going to tell you about that fella shooting him in the bathroom. But we already got to it. I need to take Odin to the bathroom, guys. And I'm high as a kite again. I need to figure out... It's the same thing as these 3-gram guys. They are intense. I'll tell you what. When it was good, it was good. When it was awful, it was awful. As per usual. Appreciate you hanging out. It is Algorithmic Poison as per usual. Like and subscribe, etc. Ring bells. Is that a thing? Do we still have bells in this process? Hang on. Here's my sweet boy. Come here. Come here. Oh, here's my sweet boy. Here's the reason we have to cut it short. Actually cut it on time. Because Odin's like, listen bitch, it's time. I gotta go potty. He does. This is my sweet man. Look, look. He's got bangs like a 1990s Christian Slater. Yeah, that's a good one. Right? Maybe a little Eddie Furlongy? Or maybe he's a little bit more Eddie Veddery. I don't know. He gets kind of sad in the face sometimes. But he's my sweet, sweet boy. Odin Chops. I didn't pick his name. He's no god of thunder. He's a sweet fella. Yeah, it was a good weekend. It was a long day. My brain is all the way up my ass. I was sick and shit. Excuses, excuses. I do appreciate you hanging out. If you don't think this shit needs to be shared, then don't worry about it. If you do, then please do, for sure. To be honest with you, my big hope is that the handful of people who actually do make it through this material, my hope is that you just make it through this material and your vocabulary blooms a bit. And with that blooming vocabulary, you find yourself in more and more leadership positions, and the world goes a little bit smoother. Because it usually kind of does when we get better leaders out there. And it's not that difficult to get it going. It's a lot of work. It's a lot. It does require a lot from each individual. And it's always different what it requires from each of us. But it is worth it. It's the best. It really honestly is. Like, this path I've been on has had dark periods, for sure. But that's humanity. That's human life. Darkness is part of experiencing light. You know, it is what it is. Like, I can bitch about being bullied and stuff, and sure, yeah, it happened. It was awful. It sucked. I was getting the shit kicked out of me for like years. Like, jacked a kid in the throat, and then that kind of stopped. But it'd be nice if I didn't have to fucking punch a kid in the throat. I was a kid too at the time, by the way. I wasn't like 20. No, I was like 4th grade. It sucked though. It was. But that was the fire hose that shot me this way. So here I am. You know, it's. I don't know. I just turned 42 4 minutes ago. And I'm grateful. I'm happy. I had a great day today. If I die in my sleep, I had a great life. Even the shitty parts. They all add up to it. They all add up to a happy camper in the box there. Alright, I'm going to cut it short, gang. I say as I jabber on. Do I have any notes? Nothing important. If you want to read the material for yourself, it's the Field Manual 22-100 or 22-100. I usually mention it in most episodes. I don't know if I mentioned it in this one, so. Email, I guess, if you want to email me, president@legioextra. You can email my chief of staff at hand@legioextra. They'll probably get a hold of you quicker than I will, just because I'm awful at correspondence. That's why I have a chief of staff. Yeah, I won't do. Last week I did my little pissy pants britches about the war and shit going on out there. Yeah, it ain't great, but it is more evidence to my point. We need better leaders. And I know from more than 25 years of experience professionally doing this kind of shit, you are capable. You Even if you accidentally fucking clicked onto this, you're like, what's this person talking about? And you somehow sat through an hour of this nonsense. You are capable. If you're as high as I am, stoned out of your goddamn mind, give it a minute, go take a cold shower. You are capable. I will be in 20 minutes. This is all doable stuff. And it starts with things you've known since you were a child. Things I see demonstrated in that 5-year-old. Things I saw demonstrated in his little 3-year-old sister. Things I saw demonstrated in the 20-month-old. Things I have seen demonstrated for 25 fucking years in every little person I see. Is when you suppress one's humanity that all this evil and fucking stupidity happens. And all of that suppression of humanity comes when someone else is embarrassed by their own. Mic drop. Just kidding, this is my vape. And I don't want the pod to come out. Alright, gang. I do love you. Even if I don't know you. Even if we never meet. It is my privilege to sit here in this sliver of time with you. As crazy as it is. But hey, not everybody gets to make it to the future.